New for 2023 is a sports edition based on the trim we have. Subaru of Lakeland has given us the 2023 Subaru Crosstrek Premium in the crystal black Celica. The redesign was back in 2018. Tweaks to the front fascia was done in 2021 and giving us a more powerful Boxer 2.5 liter 4-cylinder. This one's the 2.0, so we're going to be getting optimal gas consumption. Inside cloth upholstery with a two-tone, the small SUV slash hatchback ride goes against a ton of rivals, starting with the Honda HR-V, which is fully redesigned, your Toyota Corolla Cross, which just came out last year, your Mazda CX-30, Hyundai Kona. The segment is pretty packed, as you can tell, but which one's going to get better gas consumption, a better everyday drive, something that's user-friendly for your animals, and it also takes care of the planet all in the same. I'm Anthony from Hawkeye Rides. I'm going to go over all the specs in detail. Crosstrek receives the same ground clearance as nearly the whole brand at 8.7 inches, which is going to beat the Honda HR-V, the Toyota Corolla Cross, the Mazda CX-30. I mean, I could go on forever. The front fascia is going to be more similar to a Mazda CX-30. The grille was redone back in 2021. If you want the LED headlamps and the steering responsive lights, you have to go to the limited tier, which will also add LED fog lamps. When you're in this tier, you are adding the fog lamps. The lower bumper gets a nice texture that's kind of like scratch resistant slash chip resistant. So I do like how they've implemented that in the front, because when you're driving this, being realistic, you're going to drive it a lot on the road and off the road, and you're not going to have to worry about dings. A flat low hood and the fenders also get that same texture that's going to be going over your 17-inch wheels. This is a 5-spoke machine finish, and the side rockers going between it, the same thing. So even if you're coming inside, if you accidentally kick it, you don't have to worry about anything at all, no divots because of that texture. Raised roof rails, which is something that's known for the Subaru line. In the rear, you're gonna only get a touch of it by the reflectors. Here, I wish they implemented it in the whole back because we don't have any exhaust outlets. It would make it look a little bit more rugged and performance driven for the Subaru line. And you also receive the LED tail lamps when you go into the limited trim. Active torque vectoring, Subaru symmetrical all-wheel drive, which none of the rivals are going to give you this as a standard feature. The disc behind these 17-inch wheels at 11.6 inches ventilated, the rear at 10.8 inches. It's going to be solid. Another nice thing, 4-wheel independent suspension, a strut with a lower L arm. The rear is a double wishbone with lateral link pillow ball joints, electronic brake force distribution. They don't need to extend the length. Here, you're going to be easier to get in and out of lanes, which you'll see in the ride, because you're at 176.5 inches, a wheelbase at 104.9 inches. Whereas when you get into the Honda HR-V, I was really impressed with the styling cues to the vehicle from the exterior and even in the interior. However, they did extend it nearly 10 inches. So when you're looking at that, it's almost at a CR-V length. So comparing this to like a Mazda CX-30, it's going to be a little bit more closer, but again, that ground clearance, the roof rails, everything blacked out, a lower roof spoiler, shark fin antenna, and I like how everything just comes together with the Subaru Crosstrek. It's going to be smaller, yes. So you have kind of a wagon, kind of a hatchback, however you want to call it, but it's still an SUV, and practical going inside your cargo is going to start at 20.8 cubic feet. We have a spare tire tucked underneath the floor. The rear bench split folds at a 40-60 split. That's going to match the cargo to 55.3 cubic feet, towing 1,500 pounds. The interior cargo, and this is smaller, is the best in class comparing to all of the rivals. This is going to be the smaller variant for your engine, but we're going to go inside, start it up so you can hear that exhaust note. They backed this Crosstrek with a 2.0 liter Subaru Boxer engine, producing 152 horsepower and 145 pound-feet of torque. That's paired to a Lineartronic CVT transmission with your X mode, achieving 28 to 33 mpgs, which is the best in class. 0 to 60 is going to be around 9.2 seconds. Quarter mile, about 16.9 seconds. If you need it to be faster, up to the larger engine that we received, plus you would go to the sport trim to get it, it's a 2.5 liter. You would get your 0 to 60 cut down to 7.5 seconds, which is going to be faster than almost all of the rivals. Quarter mile at 16 seconds, so you're saving a second there, over 2 seconds on the 0 to 60, a top speed right at 109 miles per hour. That is pretty quick for something that's raised up, that has four-wheel independent for off-roading and on-roading capabilities. Plus, when you're comparing this to the rivals, it will beat the Honda HR-V, it will beat the Toyota Corolla Cross, it will beat the Hyundai Kona. So all the competition is going to be left behind if you really need the performance. Otherwise, this is the way you go for your MPGs. Let me know in the comments what you think about the 2023 Subaru Crosstrek Premium as we go into the interior, go over the tech, and take this for our test. Entering inside the Subaru Crosstrek Premium at 39.8 inches of headroom, 38 inches of legroom. Bucket front seats and the cloth upholstery, 6-way power adjustment for the driver. They're heated seats, 4-way manual adjustment for the passenger, and the contrast stitch. Then they put that on the dashboard and you get that texture yet again. It looks like an aluminum carbon fiber inlays, which I do like that. It gives a sport flair. 2 information screens. You have your climate control and a storage pocket with 2 USB ports and a 12 volt. You get the contrast stitching here, and then they put a touch of it right here with that carbon fiber look yet again on the driver's side. And all of your vents in the center will get the silver around it, and the matte black will stay stationed on the side. You have an information cluster on the top. Above that 6.5 Starlink multimedia display. This has Apple CarPlay, it has Android Auto, you have Sirius XM, AM, FM. We do not have navigation. You'd have to go into the limited trim, put it into reverse, and you have a reverse camera with full trajectory. The screen is going to be a little bit smaller, but it's still something that makes it easy for your reversing. Leather wrapped 3-spoke Subaru steering wheel with that contrast stitching. It is multi-function, and I do like that everything is pretty much right there. It makes the vehicle feel very athletic because it's a big steering wheel. The gauge cluster, you can go through an array of information, but really the information that you're going to be going through a lot is going to be on that information panel right there. Your X-Drive mode right here, which will change the throttle response, your steering, help with the suspension. Cup holders, a 16.9 ounce fits without any issues. I would say you could go up to probably a 42 ounce. Open up inside here, it's pretty deep. It's just really pushed back with a 12 volt. It's going to be more sport derived. The door panel gets that carbon fiber look to it around the door handles, and you get a nice little texture and cloth pattern here. It's soft where you rest your elbows, one touch up and down for the front windows, and you give a little polished gloss black on the tips. The storage pocket, you can fit about 2 16.9 ounce. Subaru EyeSight, which it makes it a little bit tough because you can't really put your fingers to move the rear view mirror. And we also have a moonroof, so they have really tackled everything that you would need for an everyday family vehicle. For the back seats, I'm at 38 inches of headroom, almost 42 inches of legroom, which is quite a bit for a smaller SUV. Nothing I can rest here, nothing in the center. The floor isn't completely flat, only storage behind the passenger seat. Door panel is going to get some more firm materials. It's going to be soft where you rest your elbows, one touch up and down, and you get that touch of gloss right there. Cup holders is about the same as the front. But again, for a rugged, everyday use, dog or animal friendly vehicle, it's definitely something to consider. Let's see how I look in the center. Sitting into the center, the only issue that I have is if I move forward just a bit, because of the sunroof, I'm hitting the headliner. Otherwise, headroom is no problem. Legroom, the same thing. I will be sharing significant feet space, butt and shoulder space isn't too bad, even though the seat doesn't flare out as the width of the vehicle. But the nice thing about it is you could still reach in the cup holder area for the door panel, so everyone can actually use the storage back here. And comparing it to the Mazda CX-30, I would say this actually has a little bit more space than that a little bit more than the Toyota Corolla Cross. The Honda HR-V has a lot more space, but they also increased the length about 10 inches. Taking the 2023 Subaru Crosstrek Premium out for our test run, 2.0 liter flat boxer 4 engine with 152 horsepower and 145 pound-feet of torque. Going to be a bit more rugged because you got that ground clearance at 8.7 inches, which is the best in class. This is actually better than some larger SUVs. Now, feeling the bumps, it's going to be that way. The good thing is they're 17-inch wheels. They're not like 20-inch, so it'd be so harsh on the ride. So I do like that they've incremented a smaller wheel to make it a little bit more easier for you. This is not the fastest vehicle, so sometimes you might want to just wait a couple seconds at the stop sign. We're going to give her a little go so you can hear it. The road noise is definitely there. Braking, it's pretty decent. Maneuverability, smaller vehicles, so like I was saying before, that is something that I do like. When they're smaller, it's easier for you to get in and out of lanes. Blind spot monitoring is inside on the side view mirror, so it does make it easy there because I really don't have to take my eyes off of the front windscreen, which is super large. For the size of this vehicle, it's almost the size of the hood. The A-pillars are way pushed back, so it feels very aerodynamic. It actually feels like you're almost on the road, even though you're not. From a stop point, now that's going to be your everyday drive. I didn't really floor it all the way. I was hitting about 3, and that's what's going to happen, about 3 to 4 RPMs to get this power underneath it to move. The Lineartronic CVT transmission isn't too bad. A lot of people do complain about it. Subaru really is putting it in all their vehicles, so you have to just suck it up. Hate to say it that way. Now there is 3 things I like and 3 things that I dislike. Because anything more than that, I'd be buying this vehicle. But to show you some maneuverability, it's not going to be as athletic as a Mazda CX-30 with the turbo. The 3 things that I like has to start off with, this is the best with cargo space. This is not the longest vehicle in its segment either. So that makes it stand out to me, because if I'm looking for a practical everyday use, this is what I would tick the box for. The second thing brings me to the MPGs, one of the best MPGs in the segment. Another thing that, for longevity purposes, if gas goes up, hey, you're getting the best gas consumption you can get. And the last thing that I like is how you have 8.7 inches of ground clearance. The reason why is because nobody in this segment does that. And Subaru gives you that in the sense of, if you live up north and you have to go up mountains, you can do that with this vehicle. With the other models that we've been talking about through the review, you might get stuck here and there. Subaru's all-wheel drive system is standard. You're not going to get that standard in all of the models either. 3 things that I dislike starts off with this center cluster. They have added a piece, not recently, but they've added a piece here to kind of extend it out. But if you're a shorter person, you're not going to even be able to rest your elbow. Forget about your arm. And then to open it, you have to kind of reach back, because the little lever here, it's so tight that you can barely fit a finger to it, bringing me to the second thing, the eyesight. Right here, you can't even put your hands to move it, so you have to kind of adjust it this way, and it's a large rear view mirror, which is great. Smaller vehicle, so it's a little bit not abnormal, just you're not expecting it to be so big, but I'd like to be able to move it. The last thing that I dislike, I have to say, the Boxer engine, they should just discontinue this particular one. Unless you're really wanting to save 1 or 2 MPGs, the best way to go is the 2.5 liter. However, if you drive this one first, it may be sufficient for you. But for me, I would go the 2.5. Turn radius, more or less a stop point, pretty good, about 2 lanes. And give her some go. You can get up to speed, but the problem that I have with it is when you get onto the interstate. So going onto the interstate, unless you have maybe a quarter mile to merge in, you're gonna have to use your brakes, which also the adaptive cruise control and lane keep assist only hold you for about 0.1 miles. Once it gets to 0.2 miles, it starts beeping. 0.3, it's completely turned off. The interior design fits for animal-friendly vehicles. So Subaru really has tackled that pretty good because it's not too much to the eye, and for your animals, they're gonna be relaxed. You get heated seats in the front. Obviously, you're gonna have to pay some upgrades for some of the amenities that we have. To get a vehicle in the 30,000 price point and getting the packages that you get, you still have towing capabilities. So if you go canoeing, you could actually do it. The roof rails, they're raised. It's one of the only in its class that has it that high up. You'd have to go to like a Defender Land Rover, and this by no means is comparable to that. It just shows you that you're getting practical things that you would use going camping, going off-roading. Plus, you're not gonna have to worry too much about the interior. It's easy to clean up because it just wipes off. I would recommend putting maybe a protectant over it so that way it does just slide off easy. I'd like to thank Subaru Lakeland for giving us this 2023 Subaru Crosstrek Premium for our car review. If you're already a subscriber, thank you for being part of the Hawkeye community. If not, what are you waiting for? Click the next video, the subscribe button, check out the details, merchandise website, and everything we do here at Hawkeye Rides.